Okay, we're back.
Hello!
Hi. Sorry it's been a little while.
Yeah, but you guys can go back and watch chapters 1 and 2 if you want to catch up to where we are. We left off at the end of chapter 2 where Jonah had just been vomited out of a whale. Yeah, and you read last time, so this time it's me.
Take it away.
Alrighty. So, Jonah chapter 3. Then the word of the Lord came to Jonah a second time. Go to the great city of Nineveh and proclaim to it the message I give you. Okay, so we know the first time that when God spoke to him, it was very similar to this.
Right.
Okay, what did it say?
Well, it said, Arise, go to Nineveh, the great city, and cry against it, for their wickedness has come up before me.
Okay, so when he heard it the first time, he took off, went the wrong direction on purpose.
No, he didn't go. Yes, he went the opposite
he went
direction.
the opposite direction on purpose, okay? This time, okay, God put him through a horrible storm, let him get eaten by a fish, probably die, vomited up, he's basically resurrected or whatever. Or even if he was just close to death, his life was spared. Okay.
Yes.
And now God says to him, go to the great city of Nineveh and proclaim to it the message I give you. God figures probably this time Jonah's going to do it.
You think most people do. I have kids. I mean, when your kids get in trouble,
Yeah.
you tell them, do this. And if they don't do it,
Do you think he wants to
there's
go
some
back out and get
discipline.
swollen by another whale or fish or something?
I would think maybe the second time he heard
Yeah,
pretty much the
I
same
think-
message, he'd be ready to go.
I think it was like, okay, I kind of get the picture now.
Well, in the belly of the fish, he had even made that prayer that he was going to sacrifice unto God with thanksgiving. So
True.
you would think he's ready to go for God now.
Yeah, so God asked him. And verse 3 says, Jonah obeyed the word of the Lord and went to Nineveh.
Woohoo!
So what if he wouldn't have?
Well, then I would hate to think what God would have sent on land to straighten him out.
God might have given him another opportunity, but it's possible when we're asked to do something from God, if we're not willing to do it, he could send somebody else.
But this is true.
And you could lose out on your chance of a great blessing or a great story or
Well,
just a great feeling. It's a great feeling to do something for the Lord.
it really is. In this case, God gave him a second chance.
Mm-hmm. And Jonah listened.
Fortunately, he did.
Yes. Now, Nineveh was a very important city. A visit required 3 days. Now, you and I were talking about that, and we were thinking that, at first I thought 3 days, maybe 3 days to go around, like the diameter, the perimeter, not diameter, the perimeter of the city for 3 days. But then, it's like, why? If you're just going to the city and you're going there for a purpose, or you're just going to the city council, or you're just going to see somebody, why would you need to travel the whole city for 3 days?
Well, everything important's in the middle.
Yeah, that's true. So it could be 3 days to get to the middle. Or a lot of times when people come to a city, it's because they're traveling and they just want to travel through it and continue. And it may be a 3-day journey for the diameter. This time I mean diameter, from one end to the other if it's round, or maybe the length of the city. It could be a 3-day travel that way.
See, that's a really long walk. When I hike, I don't know, maybe 2 miles an hour. And for a full day, let's just say I could hike for maybe 10 or 12 hours. Well, that would be 20 to 24 miles right there.
Ooh.
That's
Multiply that by 3 if
yeah,
that's
that's
what they're
a
talking about.
long distance.
And if that's only to get to the middle, possibly, just a theory, then you don't even have to double that.
Have you ever been to New York City?
Yes, I have.
It's not that big, not in length. You could walk 20 miles and I think be through the whole city.
Ooh. So Nineveh really was a great city.
A lot of stuff there, I think.
Right. It really was a great city. If it took 3 days to go the whole way through it, it was a really big city. If it took 3 days just to get to the middle, it was a really, really, really big city. Okay, wow. So
now we know why maybe Jonah was a little worried.
this
Boy,
thing's
this is a big
huge.
city.
Might just be scary just to go to it,
It might be.
let alone tell everybody you're going to go to hell. It might be scary enough just to get to Nineveh. Okay, so now Nineveh was a very important city. A visit required 3 days. On the first day, Jonah started into the city. On the first day he started in the city. So it took a day just to start into the city.
Well, I think they're saying the first day when he started.
Oh, okay. He proclaimed 40 more days and Nineveh will be overturned. So as soon as he starts walking in the city, he just starts saying it. 40 more days and Nineveh will be overturned.
Right.
Kind of reminds me of those people that walk on the streets.
The end is coming?
Yeah, with the bell. The end is near. The end is near. Right?
Right. And we laugh at those people.
Yeah,
but
we do. But here, Jonah was sent, and I guess he was told to say this. He didn't just invent it. He didn't say it hoping that God would listen to him and wipe out Nineveh.
Well, God gave him a message to pass on.
God gave him a message, yeah, it says here.
And after the whole fish story, I want to make sure that message was exactly right.
Right, because the Lord said, go to the great city of Nineveh and proclaim to it the message I give you. So he doesn't give him the message ahead of time. I have a feeling that Jonah went there and then at that moment knew what the message was.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
So he just opened up his mouth and he just started saying, 40 more days and Nineveh will be overturned. Now, we've heard about 40 days before.
That's right. We talked about it in our last series of videos when we talked about Noah and the flood.
Yeah. Because
40 is a bit of an important number.
It rained for 40 days and 40 nights. Well, apparently. Okay, so the Ninevites believed God. Boy, that was easy.
The first day. It takes 3 days to get through the whole city. And the first day, he sees results.
Yeah. Here he was scared to death to go, to the point that he risked his life and the lives of others to escape God. And here all he had to do was walk in and say it, and they believed him.
Mm-hmm. They had 39 more days. One of my sons is quite the procrastinator. And if you told him you have 40 days to straighten up,
he's going to wait till 39 and a half.
I'll get to it in lifetime. Yeah. These guys said, we have to fix things now. First day.
Did they say that? Because I didn't get any further than the fact that they believed God.
That was immediately after the first day.
Okay. So, 40 more days and Nineveh will be overturned. The Ninevites believed God. They declared a fast. And all of them, from the greatest to the least, put on sackcloth. That was normal back then. To put on sackcloth and put like ashes on your head or something and on your face, make yourself look like you've been fasting so everybody knows, oh, I'm fasting. So that was normal to do that. But yeah, they declared a fast and all of them, from the greatest to the least, put on sackcloth. When the news reached the king of Nineveh, he rose from his throne, took off his royal robes, covered himself with sackcloth, and sat down in the dust. So he probably had, one of his guards or somebody come to him and proclaim the news that was happening on this side of the city. This man walked in and said, in 40 more days, God's going to destroy us. Everybody's fasting and everything, and the king, rather than, saying, bring that man before me, and listen to him or whatever, he just immediately takes off his royal robes. So you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between him and anybody else.
Now, all that we see here in the Word is that he's proclaiming the message of God. It doesn't say in here somebody just ran in and said, hey, the man that just got spit up by the fish came and said this. There's no indication of that. And there's no indication that anything about Jonah was important. They heard the message from God. They took God's word, and that became the thing they acted upon.
Well, that could be. But another thing is, back then, like, the prophets were well known. At least from what I can tell from what I read. Now, he may not have been well known in this land, but he may have been.
Well, I think he probably...
in which case, when a prophet spoke, they believed a prophet. They didn't have a reason to question a prophet. A prophet was exactly that. They would prophesy.
I would like to think that Jonah walked in very confident that he was speaking the word of God. He just came out of the fish. He had just gone through that entire situation with God. He tried running away once, and now he knew that he needed to give everything he had.
Yeah, they may have assumed that he was a prophet because he came in and spoke with such authority, possibly. Yeah. Okay. So when the news reached the king of Nineveh, he rose from his throne, took off his royal robes, covered himself with sackcloth, and sat down in the dust. Then he issued a proclamation in Nineveh. By the decree of the king and his nobles, do not let any man or beast, herd or flock taste anything. So they got to not only fast themselves, but now all their pets, if they
Everything.
had any pets, all their livestock, none of them were allowed to eat. Do not let them eat or drink. How are you going to keep your animals from eating or drinking?
Well, that's going to be a little tough.
Our cats will chew on anything if we didn't feed them.
Well, we don't put out the bowls of water. It seems to me the king is saying everybody is going to recognize the importance of this message and give nothing but thought to this because everybody is going to be fasting. In fact, you talked about the ashes and the sackcloth, and I think that's, in this case, a little less showing everybody, hey, look at me, I'm doing the fasting thing. I think it's more, look at me, I just gotten rid of all my really nice robes, and I'm humbling myself.
Oh, right. Right. I'm just saying what a lot of times that they would do.
Right.
I mean, I lived in Africa when I was 12 years old. And there was a Medina, a city, where people would go and barter. And I saw a lot of the times where people would be sitting around the city and on the inside of the city around the walls. And they would, purposely dirty themselves up and look like they were really sad and hungry and all, so that people would feed them. And when people were fasting, I have heard that they wanted pity on themselves. It's not that they wanted someone to feed them because they're fasting for a purpose, but they wanted everybody to know, or they wanted people to know, look how righteous I am because I'm fasting.
But you're not really going to have much of that in this case.
But in this case, yeah,
everybody's fasting.
Yeah, that's
by order
true.
of the king.
Well, it seems to me, even without the order, they were all fasting.
Right.
Now, they might not have thought about their animals. He threw that in there, which is really surprising. So do not let any man or beast, herd or flock taste anything. Do not let them eat or drink. But let man and beast be covered with sackcloth. Now, that's a new one for me. What is sackcloth anyway?
I'm not sure exactly. I just figured it was something that you stored things in.
Yeah, I always thought of it as like a burlap bag.
Yeah, that's how I thought of it.
Okay.
The cats aren't going to enjoy that.
So now they're covering their animals with this. That had to be a sight. But let man and beast be covered with sackcloth. Let everyone call urgently on God. So first they're being ordered. Don't eat. Don't drink. Don't let your animals eat or drink. You must be covered in sackcloth. Your animals must be covered in sackcloth. And you all must urgently call on God.
Do you see a parallel with the sailors?
They couldn't eat. They were so sick and they were throwing everything overboard. They had to get rid of everything.
Their total focus was on God. Now, they were calling to every God they could imagine before they realized they needed to call upon the one true God, and then they saw results.
The proclamation goes on. It says, let them give up their evil ways and their violence. So now they're having to give up part of their culture and their personality. Yeah. Who knows? This is still part of the proclamation. He puts who knows in a proclamation. What king or president or ruler would put who knows in their law? So this is really interesting because it says, let them give up their evil ways and their violence. Who knows? God may relent and with compassion turn from his fierce anger so that we will not perish.
What I thought was interesting was that he tells them that they all have to turn from their violence and they have to call on God.
Mm-hmm.
And what I think is that he realized all along that his country is doing this, and he's thinking all along perhaps there's no repercussions for it. Now a man comes along and tells him that the city is going to be destroyed in 40 days, and he instantly comes to the realization, oh my goodness, look what we were doing. We have to stop this.
Yeah, I think you're probably right there. I think the man already knew that he and his city was out of line.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, someone just comes in and says, God's going to destroy you in 40 days. They all believed it. Is it possible they were all so wicked that they all knew that they were going to hell? Like, you could talk to people today and they'll be like, yeah, I know I'm going to hell, but that's where all my friends are going too. I mean, they just know it. They just know it, and they don't care.
Mm-hmm.
But if someone came along and said, and they thought that person was from God, hey, God's going to take you out in 40 days.
Mm-hmm.
And they already know that they've been doing all that stuff. They already know they're guilty. Yeah.
I mean, if I smoked 4 packs of cigarettes a day and ate nothing but Big Macs and
you went to the
milkshakes,
doctors and they said you're going to die in 40 days?
Like, I'm stopping all the Big Macs and smoking.
Yeah.
I don't do either.
Probably wouldn't help you at that point.
Right.
But
I would do everything.
And in this case,
if the doctor told me I had 40 days, I would try everything I could.
But in this case, the king doesn't know if it'll help either.
That's true.
It didn't say repent and turn away. It said, he says 40 more days and Nineveh will be overturned. Period.
And what's the first thing that goes when a city is overturned?
The ruler and his family.
Yes.
They all get executed. Okay, so he says, who knows? God may yet relent, and with compassion turn from his fierce anger, so that we will not perish. So they know they're going to perish in 40 days.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as they hear that they're going to perish in 40 days, they immediately start fasting and covering with sackcloth. And then the king says, not only are you going to do that, we're going to take it to the extreme. You're going to include your animals. Nobody's going to eat or drink,
Mm-hmm.
Y'all are going to turn from your evil ways. And maybe, just maybe, God will keep from not destroying us.
Now, do you think they would have done that had God not given them a 40-day window?
Right. Well, he already had given them not a 40-day window. We ourselves, today, we're not given a window. We're just told he's going to destroy us if we don't follow his ways. We're not given that 40-day window. We're given our lifetime. We just don't know how many days that is.
But we have an awful lot of procrastinators.
And that's because we don't know the deadline.
Mm-hmm.
If we knew the deadline, then I think we would all probably procrastinate up to that last 40 days, then call on God and hope he relents. It's quite possible. I mean, there would be some of us who still follow anyway. Like Jonah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Although sometimes it is hard to do what the Lord wants. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it is difficult. Sometimes it's very difficult. I once had a dream that I believe to this day was real. I believe that in my dream, the Lord asked me if I would be willing to go to a third world country. And I was like, yeah, sure. He's like, I'm not finished yet. For 20 years. It's like, oh, 20 years? Well, I really don't like the sounds of that, but I guess so, as long as I can come back. He said, I didn't say that. In fact, you will never come back to this country. So I didn't know if that meant I would die at the end of the 20 years, or if I would end up going to another country after that, or maybe another country, or who knows what. But I knew that this assignment that I was being asked to take on was one that required me to leave the nation. Mm-hmm. And I said, oh, no, in that case, no. And when I was saying no, in that case, no, I was waking up. I had an alert
Mm-hmm.
mind. And I felt like at that point, this was not a dream, but this was the real thing. And I felt
Mm-hmm.
like the Lord said to me, your loyalty to your country is greater than your loyalty to me. And I never was given the opportunity to go again. I was never asked again.
Mm-hmm. For that particular instance, but you did spend time in the wilderness of Alaska?
That was in the wilderness of Alaska when that
Ah,
happened.
I see.
So,
Well, I don't want to take any cruises with you for fear of a big fish.
oh, okay. I thought you meant because for 20 years we'd be gone and never come back. But, so it may have been a dream, it may have been a real calling. But, I didn't do as the Lord wanted it. And yet at this point in my life, I thought I was completely dedicated.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was praying, watching 5 hours of Joyce Meyer a day, reading the Bible tons, studying. I spent all my time absorbed in this, except when I was making meals, eating, and child care. I loved my kids dearly, and they were young. I had 2 of them at that time. The third one hadn't come along yet, but I was praying. Even when I was doing stuff, I was praying to God all the time and talking to Him all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, that offer or that asking for help or whatever came, and I said no. It's pretty shocking to me that someone that dedicated, could still turn and run to Tarshish. Even knowing everything.
Well, you might get a second chance, perhaps.
Perhaps. But anyway, so where were we?
I think we were on verse 9 going into 10.
All right. So yeah, we're near the end of chapter 3 here. When God saw what they did and how they turned from their evil ways, He had compassion and did not bring upon them the destruction He had threatened. Wow.
So He told Jonah, go to Nineveh and say what I'm going to tell you to say. He shows up in this huge city. On the first day, people start reacting. The king hears about it, and immediately they take action on God's word.
Now, it doesn't say he sent another message to Jonah saying, "Oh, tell them all I'm good now."
They may have just had to wait out the 40 days.
I was going to say, they probably waited out the 40 days. And when the 40 days came, they're like waiting for the sky to fall on them, or waiting for the earth to open up, saying goodbye to everybody, hugging and kissing and crying.
Now,
maybe at that point giving up the fast and eating.
Maybe there was celebration on the 41st day. I don't know.
Oh, I'm sure that day there was.
You would think.
Yeah.
The story changes greatly in chapter 4 and completely shifts gears. I want to read the first verse only, just for the contrast, to get everybody excited about the next video. So, Nineveh is spared. Jonah did what he was supposed to.
What they did and how they turned from their evil ways, not just said, "Oh God, forgive me." They turned.
Yes.
From their evil ways.
They
repented. They had 40 days to really, truly turn, not just put on a good show. Yeah. He had compassion and did not bring upon them the destruction he had threatened.
Which is a wonderful story.
Yeah. Be great if it ended right there.
Right there would be wonderful.
Yep. But there's another chapter.
There is. In the very first verse of that next chapter. Now, granted, we divide up the chapters and make the verses ourselves, but the very next thought is, but it greatly displeased Jonah, and he became angry. Can't wait to talk about that next time.
Yeah. Okay.
All
Thank you
right.
for joining us.
We'll see everybody next time.
Bye.
Bye.